See, nobody prepares you for your first year of coaching football. They hand you a whistle. You could have been the parent standing on the sideline, and the other coach decided they didn't want to do this. They hand you that whistle, or they tell you, "Hey, here's the roster," and expect you to figure it out. And they want you to figure it out on your own. Now, if you have applied for a job in the high school rankings, you pretty much know that you're about to embark on something that you think you can help out and be a little bit more productive with. And see, most first year coaches do exactly that. Their egos lead the way. They wing it. They struggle. And a lot of them quit before they even find their footing. Now, here's the truth nobody in the coaching world wants to say out loud. The game of football is not the hardest part of coaching football. No. That's where most new. And some tend to jump into a program not knowing what is entitled. And then some want to blame the coaches for their shortcomings. So you can know every formation in the playbook and still lose your locker room by the first week or even by week 3. Let's give it week 3. Let's just go ahead and just give it 3 weeks because the kids are getting to know you. The parents are getting to know you. You're getting to know your coaching staff. You're getting to know everything that you need to understand when it comes to this game. Some tend to let other outside entities get in the way. Now, this show exists because most first-year coaches deserve better than figuring it out the hard way. So here's what I want to do. I want to welcome you to the Coach's Corner Network. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Coach's Corner Network, the show that is built for first-year youth football coaches and first-year high school coaches, head coaches who are serious about developing players, building programs, and growing in the coaching aspect that they felt like they were meant to be in. Now, I'm your host, Mr. Anthony Porter, the coaching strategist, program builder, and someone who knows what it's like to stand out on the sideline for the first time with more questions than answers. Now, I know some people are like, why should I listen to this guy? I've been coaching this game for 30 plus years. I've coached high school football for the last 11 years. I've studied the game from the outside looking in. I chose to go to programs that were underdeveloped because I love to do exactly what I'm about to talk about. And that's build programs. I love to develop kids. And that's one thing the coaching world is getting away from. So today's episode, which is episode number 1, the numero uno for this particular podcast, is the welcome episode. And I want to be straight with you from the jump. This show is not a highlight reel. We're not here to make coaching look glamorous. That's where a lot of people tend to fail. You can't be a coach and walk into your locker room and first, your locker room looks slouchy. Second, your players do not understand culture, program, family fundamentals. But yet on Friday nights, you out there blinged up, blinged out. You got the flyest gear on. Your coaching gear is better than your own staff. You want to be uniform? You want to be in a program? This is where it's at. We are here to talk about what it actually takes. X's and O's, the culture, the leadership, the player development, all of that. If you're a first-year youth or high school football coach who wants to build something real, a program your players remember, a culture your community respects, and the skills to coach to the next level, you're in the right place. Now, here's what we're going to cover today. Why I built this show and who it's for. What the Coach's Corners Network deliver every week. The biggest mistakes first-year coaches tend to make in a year. The one thing you need to lock in before your first practice. And stop coaching like this is Madden. That ain't something we're going to talk about. That's just me saying that because I see this a lot. All right, so let's get it. Let's get into it. Because I guarantee you, if this is home, you're going to be upset at some point because you're going to feel some type of way. And I get it. Most people do. Why do you feel some type of way? Well, it's strange because most coaches get into coaching because either they have their child out there or they're a parent there and the coach and the administration tend to quit. That's youth football. When it comes to high school football, it's a little different. But we're going to talk about all of that. All right. So without no further ado, let's get into this. So let's talk about why this show exists. Let me tell you exactly why I built the Coach's Corner Network. And it's an entire program. It's an entire system. It's the ecosystem to first-year coaches, because nobody gave y'all the playbook. Nobody gave me the playbook when I first started. See, when I first started, I was sitting on the porch at the house, and a guy that I used to play football for, he's riding down the street. He's doing about 60 on the 35. He comes to, what are you doing? Nothing. Chilling. What's going on? Nothing. Get in the car. Get in the car? For what? You great coach football. Really? I said, all right, I ain't doing nothing else. Walked in the crib. I think I was in my early 20s. Walked in the house, put on some shorts. Well, I had shorts on, but I put on some, gym shorts, a t-shirt, tennis shoes, walked out, never walked off the field again, except when I went to college. And I mean, that was after college when this happened, but when I went back to school. So when you're a first-year coach, you're usually one or two people. Either a former player who loves the game and who wants to give back, but nobody ever taught you how to teach the game. Or you're a parent or a community leader who stepped up because somebody had to. And now you're starting, or should I say, now you're staring at 30 kids waiting on you to have a plan. Either way, most first-year coaches get to the same level of preparation. Almost none have that. There's no orientation. There's no mentor standing next to you breaking things down. Most of the time, you are inheriting someone else's problems. You are inheriting someone else's playbook. You are inheriting a program that may or not have any real foundation. And the resources online, they're either too advanced, built for coordinators and program veterans, or they're so basic that they don't actually help you when things get super hard. Coach's Corner Network fills that gap. I've had the opportunity to sit around and watch state-winning coaches at work. I've had the opportunity to go up and ask several championship-winning coaches questions. As when I was in youth football, I used to go to the high school coaches and I would ask, what is it that you want or you would like to see when kids leave youth football and go to high school? And when they would give me the list, I was a sponge because I was writing it down. And I remember one coach, he coached out at Ballard. His name was Coach Jackson. And I was writing it down. He said, what are you doing? I said, you just told me what you needed. I need to put this into my database. So when I get ready to get back to practice next week and get ready for the season, this is how we teach the kids. He kind of looked at me with the strangest look in his eye, and he was like, call me when your kids is ready. And I looked at him like, what do you mean? When y'all get into week 3, call me, reach out to me. And I actually had an inside track to the particular school he was coaching at because my nephew went there. I said, okay, no problem. Got with my coaching staff. We ran our program like we was either in high school or college. We ran a defense in the youth level. And there's probably only one coach that could even come close. It was two. At the time that I was with this other program, the Louisville Colts, there was only 2 coaches who could even come close to putting something together to be competitive against the staff that I had already put together. Now, imagine we weren't getting paid. We just loved to do what we did. And this is how I was filling the gap. The high school coaches became mentors. Even when I got to high school, I had mentors. They didn't know they was mentoring me, though. I had the opportunity to chop it up and hang out. One of them was a Lodge brother. God bless the dead. And he would tell myself and a couple other guys that I coached with, he would tell us, he said, boy, y'all was dangerous. See, it was about me building a program on a different side of town that mimicked a state championship winning program. And when the other 2 guys on the defense, and actually it was 3 more, when we all got together, the defensive coordinator, myself, the D-line coach, and the DB coach, we had a plan. Our plan was to build character, family first, fundamentals, then football. And that played into a part. When we went to go play people feared us. We wasn't there yet, but they still feared what we had because we was young. We took a team that hadn't won a football game in 5 years. We won 3 the first year and then 2 the second. No, I take that back. 3 the first year, 10 the second year. So we changed the culture. We filled the gap. And then the DC, he would meet with like the 6A. So in Kentucky, we have levels. So 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. And you could tell the coaches who have that pedigree. In 3A at the time, the king of the hill was Central. Central was going back and forth with teams like Corbin and Belfry, Cal, DeSales. In 5A, we really didn't have an up-and-coming 5A squad. You had teams like Douse. Douse was always loaded. I can't take nothing away from Douse. Douse was always loaded. Coach Crow and Coach E was doing their thing over at Douse. They was loaded. They had studs. But when you got to these county schools was built a little different. Now, 6A is where I really paid attention to. I just happened to have the opportunity to meet. And our DC would always talk to one of the nationally ranked teams because their head coach and him, they live close to each other. And they would run into each other. They would just chop it up. He would tell him, hey, man, I'm watching y'all from afar. Y'all doing some things over there. And then I had a buddy that coached. He was defensive coordinator for Louisville Middle High School when they was winning their state championship. So I've been around the pedigree. So I've studied this game. See, everybody thinks when I'm on the sideline, I'm not paying attention because I don't say much. I'm studying. And that's the gaps that I was filling. All right. See, every episode that I've built this around is just that. It's real questions for first-year coaches that have these real actual questions. See, not the questions were supposed to be asked. Some of these questions, some of them were afraid to ask because we didn't want to look like we didn't know what we was doing back then. I didn't care. I needed to know. And so what I decided to do was I went back and something recently happened for me to even get to this point. Because when you can say, I'm not the guy that will beat his chest about anything. It's crazy because there are coaches who don't even know I know how to do things until we get on the field and we get to talking. And they're like, how come you don't say much? Y'all don't include me. I'll be so amped when the beginning of the season happens and then all of a sudden I just disappear. They can't never figure out why. And so I felt like it was time to help these newer guys because some of these older guys that are leaving because everybody's retiring. Coach Wolf just retired out of Mill High School. Coach Abel just retired out of Fern Creek High School. And then you have some of the younger coaches who are coming in and they just don't understand program structure. They're trying to run it like it's a club, and it's not a club. And again, you have some programs that are up and coming. Like right now, 5A, there's Atherton High School. They have built a program that can compete. They just have to get over the next level. Central still ranks upper. Maryland, Trinity, and St. X have always, but then teams in the county that are making a lot of noise are Frederick Douglass, Wolford County, teams like that. 3A here is still Central and Cal. Cal just won their fourth straight. What's that tell you? They have a program. Boyle County is another one. Program. All right. So we have to build programs. Coach Chuck Smith was the head coach down in Boyle County. We went down there. We got beat. I'm not gonna lie. We took the L. But when we took that L, I seen program. And the first thing Coach Smith said to our head coach was, hey, if y'all need anything, reach out. Me and Coach Brendan reached out, man. That was my guy, the defensive coordinator at the time. All right, so this is what the show is about. This is the show that gives you the straight answers. We can't sit around and BS no more, man. High school sports are taking a tank because there's too much politics in the game. High school sports are really trying to mimic college. Everybody wants to transfer to the best school. Most coaches can't coach without having a stacked team. The last program I was at, we won some games. We wasn't as powerful. We didn't have the numbers. We're competing in districts that the school average was over 1,000 kids, and we probably had 800, maybe less than that. But get on that football field with us, we're going to bust your head. That was the mentality that we put in our kids. We don't break and we don't bend. We just get out here, fight, get tired, you get up, you scrap, you do whatever. Need a break, get out, come back in, let's finish the game. All right? So that's what this is about, man. We want to answer these questions, and that's what I'm here for. 30 plus years in this game, a lot of people look at me and be like, you don't look like, 30 plus. So some people have to get out of their own way and stop thinking that they know more than a lot of people because there are coaches on this side. I still reach out to a coach. Every time I see him, we talk about things, and I basically tell him, hey, man, you the reason why I'm going back on the other side of the ball. They ran something against us when I coached the linebackers at Moore High School, and to this day, I've implemented that in every defensive scheme. And he won multiple state championships at Central as the defensive coordinator. So Trust me, I've been around 2 defensive coordinator winning programs, coaches, super cool. But when you get on that football field, it's business first. And that's how we do it. All right. So now, I just wanted to give you that because a lot of people don't understand. You have to treat this like it's a business, and especially in today's game. So just another tidbit. All right, so here's what you can get every week from the Coach's Corner Network. We're going to deliver something you can use. We're going to cover 5 core areas, and we're going to rotate through all of them because winning football programs are built on all 5 and not just one. Some people think it's just one. It's not. It's all 5. So number 1, we're going to talk X's and O's. We're going to talk scheme. We're going to talk strategy. And we're going to talk installation. How to build a system that fits your personnel and that your kids can actually execute. This one sits kind of close to me. Especially this one. And I think it's another one. Yeah, it's another one on her that definitely sits close to me because we don't have this in a lot of ways. Now, when your kids can actually execute, that's a great thing. But some of the coaches are coaching with things that work on a college level. What works on Friday night with the roster for 15 to 35 kids, that's what you want to be coaching at. So that's what we're going to talk about. And number 2, we're going to talk about coach development. Some people don't know how to lead. I ain't going to get into some specifics, but I have been around and I have seen how kids respond to things. We're going to talk about how to communicate, how to handle adversity on the sideline, and how to keep growing as a coach, even in your first year. Listen, there's no way in this day and era you can't communicate with your coaches and think that everything is okay. You can't walk around and tell people that you have coaches on your staff and you haven't reached out to them. The season starts in exactly 3 months. Winter workouts has already been hey, coach, when are we going to start winter workouts? Nothing. Crickets. But yeah, you go on Instagram and you see that they work it out. Oh, you fired me. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I can just sit back and retire. Get a phone call. Oh, you walked into another situation. Love it. Love it. I really do. All right. Then we got to talk about, this is the one thing that burns my britches. Player development. Do you not understand that most coaches now think that they shouldn't be developing kids? They just want to get out here, call plays, get practice over with, go out here and think they're going to win a ball game. How to develop your athletes physically, mentally, and have the technical skills to go out here and compete. Listen, it's the funniest thing because we played the program I was at last season. We played the eventual state champion. And our kids walked out there, they're not that big. And I'm looking at them like, what do you mean? These cats was developed. These cats had a program. And I'm talking about Christian Academy. They had a program. They were a well-oiled machine. They had a particular player. He just committed to the University of Louisville, Jahai Brown. And I literally told somebody at my job, and it wasn't that I didn't have the confidence in my play. The seniors who had been around me long enough and played on the defense when I was coaching under another defensive coordinator, they understood. We don't break. But you have some that decided they wanted to act like they was a little different. This kid was different. And I had to respect their coaches because this kid probably had 140 yards receiving by the middle of the second quarter. There was nothing we could do with him. We was just outmatched. He was technically sound. He was mentally locked in. He was very physical. He probably had 3 touchdowns and 2 of them come off punt returns. And they took him out of the ball game. That's why I said I respect coaches like that because they knew they outmatched us. We knew we was outmatched, but we still had to coach the game. And it was an experience. It's what you learn. And then the kids after the game, we was walking off the field and they was like, Coach P, now we see what you're talking about. I've been telling y'all, we're not prepared because we haven't been put in situational performances. All right. But then I think I got ridiculed because I had a relationship with the kids and it made them coachable. You should want people on your staff where the kids feel like they can talk to them. They don't feel like they can talk to you, they're going to shut down. And I figured I could get more out of them because we had talent. We had kids. I felt like that I was that roadblock because some of the kids just was shut down on you. And then the new coach came in, was trying to establish the culture. And this is the one that most new coaches underestimate. Coach isn't a speech you give at the beginning of the season. That don't work. It's every decision you make every day. We are going to break down how to build your culture, how to build your coaching deliberately. Your culture has to be built deliberately. All right. And then we need to get into program building. Now, this is the infrastructure. Your practice planning, your game planning, your parent communication, off-season development, things that separate a program from just a team. One topic, one episode, one thing you can apply before the next one drops. And that's the standard. That's all we're going to do. All right. So this is what we're going to do. This is the first step. All right. Okay. So now, one of the biggest mistakes first-year coaches make is this. I'm going to give you something right now that most coaches don't figure out until year 3 or 4. The biggest mistake first coaches make is trying to coach the game before they learn to coach the player. That's the mic drop moment. If you don't understand your players, you're not going to win a ball game. But you can't have certain coaches on your staff, and these are the things that you ask. No, you're in the building. I shouldn't have to come to your practice field, and I'm just using me because we're talking. I shouldn't come to your practice field and be able to walk up to your kids and say, hey, how's practice going? It's not going good. What's going on? What happened today in school? You're in school. I coached at a school once before. They had a 6'6", 265-pound defensive lineman. Failing, but yet he's in the associate head coach's class. How's he failing your class? That's the question I needed to have answered. All right. If you cannot coach your players, you cannot coach this game. I'm sorry. Now, you can have the best playbook in your district. You can run the most sophisticated offense on the field. But if your players don't trust you, trust. If they don't believe in you, if they don't believe that you see them, know them, and actually give a damn about them beyond the jersey, none of this is going to work. Listen, bro, they implemented a rule here. And I didn't want this to be long, drawn out, but you have to understand where I'm coming from. They implemented a rule here, which was a great rule. Understand this. Nothing that I'm saying is a slight to any coach or any administrative decision. The rule that was implemented here is a rule, all right, is a rule to keep you from getting in trouble. The rule that was implemented here is a rule to keep track of, so we don't keep running into these situations we see on the news. Some of these situations that we see on the news, coaches having inappropriate relationships with the kids. They want to monitor things. Fine, that's great. That way, you know that you have to be steadfast and you have to stay on the journey. And all right, before then, I would get text messages from kids because, again, programs that I chose, the structures at home wasn't always appropriate. I would get text messages from kids, man, telling me, Coach, I'm hungry. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, bro. What are you doing up? Man, we ain't got no food. My little brother, he was hungry, so I gave him the rest of mine, and now I'm sitting here starving my stomach. What's going on, man? Talk to me. Need something to eat? Yeah. Cash out. It was making sure the kids were stable. We get to practice, man. Here's what I loved about coaching at the program that I was at. They had established to where they had snacks for the kids. Now, some things you could purchase, but some things they would give to the kids. Some of these kids wasn't eating at home. And that's not just where I'm at. That's all worldwide. And then you have situations like what Teddy Bridgewater did. You can't ask us to be mentors to young men. And this guy is sitting here trying to build character. You got a young man who wanted to go get a job. He didn't have money to get back and forth. He paid for the Uber. He bought him a tie for his interview so he can go get a job. So not only is this kid playing high school football, this kid is now trying to provide for his family. And y'all want to fire the coach? Because he came in, put together a system, understood. Why did he understand? Because he paid attention to his college head coach, which just so happens to be a person that I had the opportunity to be around because of the people that I'm associated with. So I would go out to the practices and I would just watch coaches and how they interacted with the players. And then I would take that back and put my own twist on it. And guess what? Lo and behold, kids is deciding to go to college. Listen, when I got to a school, the program, they was known for fighting. Change that, man. We ain't doing that here. Talk to the coach. Hey, let me just say this real quick, coach, if you don't mind. No, go ahead, coach. Listen, this is what they look at y'all as. Coaches don't give a damn about your film. They can see film all day. They want to know your character, and they want to know what you're going to bring to the table. Guess what happened? Kid goes off to college. He comes back. First time he came back to practice, he pulled me off to the side. He said, man, thank you. I said, what you thanking me for? Like, I ain't seen you. You know, I'm being silly with him. He's like, Coach, the conversation you used to have with us at the practice, that meant a lot. That stuck when we got to practice. Like, for the coaches in the back, start working with your kids to understand this. If your practice at your college starts at 5:30, no, is it 5:30? No, 6 o'clock. If your practice starts at 6 o'clock and this is AM and you show up at 5:45, you already late. Culture. So that's what we're going to talk about, all right? So understand this. Kids don't run hard for coaches that don't respect them. Kids don't respond to corrections for coaches that don't trust them. And kids don't buy in to systems they don't believe is in the person. They don't believe in the person who's running it. I've seen that. Scheme is easy to install. Trust takes time to build. And most first-year coaches spend all their time and energy on the scheme and not on the trust. And then they wonder why their players aren't executing. Here's the move. In year one, your primary job is relationship first, football second. That doesn't mean you go soft. Most coaches will tell you, we can't talk to the kids like that. You can't talk to the kids like that. Watch this. Hey, man, what you doing? Man, get your butt over there. Here's why this works. You understand me now? Yes, sir. Boom. Play stops. Not Johnny. Well, now that don't work. Not with this culture. You have to have some old school in you, but you still have to know how to maneuver around the old school to be successful. Okay. So again, if they don't believe in you, they ain't gonna do it for you. So again, you can't be soft. It doesn't mean you lower your standards. That's where these coaches are failing. It means you understand that every kid on your roster needs to know 3 things before they'll give you everything they've got. My head coach in football, I'm 54 years old. He's probably in his late 70s. His son's coaching the UFL Louisville Kings. I met that young fellow when he's in the 8th grade. He could call his whole roster from each school he coached at right now and say, let's play football. And I guarantee you, if we can put some Bengay on or whatever it takes to get out there, we there. So shout out to Coach Redmond, man. So here's what you got to understand. These 3 things. Do you see me? Do you believe in me? Are you going to be here for me when things get hard? When the answer to all 3 of those questions is yes, your football gets better automatically. All right. And I know I'm rambling on some of these things, but some of these things you got to understand. Some of y'all's egos get in the way. Now, the one thing you need to lock in before your first practice is this. Before you drop a single play, before you order t-shirts, and before you send out the first parent email, you need to know what you stand for. Not your scheme, not your record goals, what you stand for. What is the standard in your program? What do you expect from your players on the field, in the classroom, and in the community? What does a kid get out of playing for you behind the wins and the losses? That's your program identity. And you need to be able to say it in one sentence. The programs that last, the ones that the kids come back to years later and say, that coach changed my life. Man, I got kids right now that I have worked with. I'm working with about 7 kids that I coached. That was youth football. But the crazy part is there are kids out here that played on other programs that will come up to me real quick. I was at Chipotle the other day. And as a kid, was a beast, linebacker, everything, running back, you name it, he was doing it. And he's back there cooking, and he's not even paying attention. So the young lady said, can I take your order? I said, I like to get a burrito bowl. Head came up, he turned to the side, he looked at me, he said, Coach Porter. I said, yes. He said, you don't remember me, but my name is Shante, and I used to play for the Broncos, Coach Pizzo, Coach Dex, and all of them. Yeah, them was my guys. He said, I just remember playing against you, and the week that we played you was always the hardest week because it wasn't a nasty rivalry. It was our coaches felt like you was the best coach in the division. And I told him, I said, I felt the same way about your coaches. That's called mutual respect. And the funny thing about that is that young man played for the opponent and was giving me my flowers. I was giving him his flowers because he was a dominant player. Youth programs and high school programs are one and the same. The only difference is coaches get paid, kids are much bigger, and the parents are kind of like off to the back a little bit. We built programs. We knew exactly what we were building. And same with myself, The other coaches, they never let a season, a loss, or a tough roster class shake their identity. When you dealt with the Broncos, you dealt with their program. When you dealt with the coach, you dealt with their program. When you dealt with the Rams and the Yellow Jackets, those are programs. When I got to high school and I got to be up close and personal to see a Central, a Mayo, a Fern Creek, a Manual, a Doss, a PRP, these were the programs, a St. X, a Trinity. These were the programs. Now you look around, you have teams like Cal, Frederick Douglass, Mel and Trinity and St. X are still there, okay? Atherton has crept in. Programs are being built, but these are guys who have taken the opportunity. And if I didn't say your school, don't worry, because I'm not down in the school. What I'm saying is right now, these are the schools that are the talk of the town. So don't get in a bunch, just level up. And when you level up, your players will buy into what you're building the moment they believe you actually have that vision. Not a scheme, a vision. All right? So write that down before your practice number 1. Give that one sentence that becomes your North Star, and everything else gets much easier and measured up against. That's it. That's exactly how this thing's broken down. Now, if what I broke down today hit home, I want to make sure you leave with something concrete. I have a lead magnet just to get to you. All right? It's free. Don't worry about it. It's the First Year Survival Kit for coaches. All right? And I'm giving it away. I'm giving the exact framework to start your program on the right foundation. And some people going to say, like, what do I need that for? Check this out. I was in them shoes. I thought I knew everything. But as I started to level up, the game got faster. The game got leveled. The levels of the game got a little bit harder. Wait a minute. I need to level up my game. Let me go talk to some more of these coaches. Let me reach out. I was at coaches' clinics. I was doing everything that I possibly could to make my game better. Problem was his egos got in the way. Not mine. I was cool. I don't want to be the face of your program. I want to help you. All right. And that's what I'm trying to do now. Help you. So if you're dead serious about what's going on, grab it. The link will be in the description below. Don't wait until the night before your first practice, though. Let's be certain about that. And here's what I need you to do. I need you to subscribe to the podcast. Once you subscribe to the podcast, tell your coaching buddies to come on over to get this knowledge. Right now, this is the free game. This is free all day. You might not think about it that way. Because see, there are a lot of podcasts, and there are some great podcasts in the city about sports. You got Cleats to Whistles. You have, and then there are more. But these two stick out to me because Cleats to Whistle, they give you everything that's dealing with players, programs, and coaches. Corey's a media guy. He's all over the place. He's covering college. He's covering high school. He's covering basketball. I'm stuck at football. That's what I know. I don't know basketball like that. All right. So here's your action step for today, because I done held you longer than I really wanted to. Here's your action step today. Write your program identity statement, one sentence at a time. So all you need is one. What do you stand for, and what does a player get out of playing for you beyond the scoreboard? Write it today. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell. Every episode drops with something you can use that week. On Spotify, make sure you're following so new episodes come straight to your feed. On Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. 30 seconds from you helps the show reach more first-year coaches who need it. This is the Coaching Corners Network, man. Built for coaches who are building something that lasts. Now go coach.